Ah, yes. Here we are yet again. Of course, if you're watching us live, that means the most important thing it means, of course, is that it's Wednesday. It's noon Eastern time, which is always time for the High Noon Hemp Show. You can find us, of course, in various places, live video and video on demand, of course, on Facebook. That's the Temptations Beach Facebook page. Also, check out the Temptations Jedi Hemp on YouTube, the Jedi Hemp channel, and at Temptations. That's on X/Twitter. As the sirens go off to herald our arrival on the scene, if you will. I am Stoner Jesus. I do various shenanigans and tomfoolery on the interweb, which you can search if you feel like it. He is Beach. He is high above the Temptations in Sharonville, Ohio, at the Hemp Quarters. How are things this week in the world of Temptations, Beach?
The alarms are going off, so we must be right on time. Welcome,
Right.
everyone, to the first episode of February this year, episode 244. Things are good. Things are good. It's true. And remember, folks, the FDA has not evaluated the show for safety or efficacy. Let's go ahead and get the I pledge out of the way. The I pledge of allegiance to the hemp fields of America and to the soil in which it is planted. One seed under the sun with responsibility, sustainability, and thrivability for all. That's right. So last night was the medical marijuana meetup. Again, it was a great event, honestly. I had discussions about hempcrete. I had discussions about THCA. All kinds of interesting conversations. So it's really good. I know it's called the medical marijuana meetup, but it is everything cannabis in my opinion. I think the medical marijuana part like draws them in, but there's so many more things going on there, one way or another. Next one of those is for 2 months. So first Tuesday in April. So we can be gearing up for the big 420.
Right.
Just to let everybody know. And of course, once again, I'm a huge numbers person, especially even numbers. So maybe that's why, again, 420 is, because 42 and 24, 24 has always been my number. 42 has always been my number. 420 is obviously a lifestyle for me, one way or another. This year's 420, when you put it 420 2024, it is I don't think it's called an anagram or whatever, but it's the same backwards as it is forwards. So you take that 420 2024, reverse it, and guess what? It's still 420 2024. So
nice.
That's some fun stuff, fun facts already starting about this year's 420. The fact that it's going to be on a Saturday, and this is the first time I think it's been on a weekend since COVID and all that stuff. It's probably going to be. I mean, I'm already seeing like huge events. Seems like everywhere. Something that I didn't know, and I don't know if they actually do this every year, but last night I learned that here in Cincinnati, at least this year, and I don't know how many years they've done this in the past, they are actually going to shut down Short Vine for the 420 celebration.
Wow.
And so, I may get in on that just because, it's probably going to be a pretty big event. It's hard to say, but it's good stuff. Good stuff, one way or another. We might even, I think we might revitalize the 419 party. We started doing a 419. I started doing a 419 party like 20 years ago because everybody was doing 420 stuff, and so, maybe not 20 years ago, everybody's doing 420 stuff. Maybe 10 or so years ago. Anyway, so we started doing a 419 party, which is we bring in 420 at midnight. 419 being on a Friday this year, we haven't done that for a couple of years again with COVID and yada, yada, yada. And so we'll see. We'll see if that doesn't happen this year, one way or another. It should happen, Friday night. So City Beat has started. I mentioned it last week. I've been passing the word. And so, again, that's citybeat.com. You go there, just go to the best of voting. And we're looking for, again, my favorite is Green Sustainable Goods. When I win that, it is very fulfilling for the whole reason that I'm in this business to begin with. Smoke store is nice. We've done that plenty of times. We've never won. Ironically, we've never come in first place for CBD retailer, which blows me away. Which is, again, I am just so confused about that. But there's apparently a shop down in Kentucky who really wants to be us or is us because they get CBD retailer and green sustainable. And so good for them. Honestly, they're not, and so good for them. Anybody that challenges us for the green sustainable goods, or that we challenge for the green sustainable goods, is not my competition. They are my friend. They are someone that I would support their business. Even if it was a hemp store, I would probably go there and buy something from them that I didn't have in my store. I don't know. It's hard to say. And then, of course, friend of the environment. You can write us in for Hemptations. Write in Hemptations for friend of the environment. Because, again, there is no more better friend to the environment than hemp. I would debate with the best of them. Bring in your environmentally friendly ideas, and let me just tell you how hemp is just as good, if not better. No, we support it all. We support it all, one way or another. Probably going to try to maybe even get involved with Earth Day this year. Now, I don't think Earth Day, which sometimes is pretty close. It's obviously 4/22, so it's always close to 4/20. But it's always on a Saturday here in the city. And I need to double check, but I do believe it's actually the 27th this year, not on 4/20, which would be, again, if Earth Day was on 4/20, man, the Blue Ash wouldn't know what to do at Summit Park, to be honest with you. They'd probably bring out the riot gear, thinking, they might need it. But anyway. When it used to be downtown, I mean, I can only imagine a 4/20/Earth Day when we used to do it downtown at Sawyer Point, because that would be quite fun as well. But that's why we do a 4/20 to Earth Day sale every year, and I have unofficially named 4/21 Hemptations Day. Because, again, it's only fitting that the day in between 4/20 and Earth Day would be Hemptations Day.
That's right.
Because we're as equally powerful in either ideology. Anyway, we got months to talk about that. We got months to talk about that. What I didn't know, or I would have let everyone know last week, is apparently February 4th is National Hemp Day. It's on the... Somehow it got onto, I don't know, one of the calendars. One of the big CBD companies somehow got behind this and is behind this. Of course it was probably a CBD company, because February 4th seems so odd. Like, to me, it should be in May, maybe, when we're putting hemp seeds in the ground, or even in the fall when we've harvested the hemp fields to celebrate the harvest of the hemp fields. February 4th is a weird day, other than I did celebrate February 4th this year. Once again, the number 24, my favorite number, was my basketball jersey in high school. No, I no longer use it in my passwords. But 2424, that February 4th was 2424. And so it was kind of a holiday for me, and I didn't even know that it was National Hemp Day. So, that being said, I definitely could have gotten behind it this year. One way or another. All right. I got one more piece of local news. The shenanigans that DeSwine's been pulling up there in the governor's office. The whole ban thing got kiboshed. They here in Ohio, what the governor tried to do was attach this amendum to a alcohol bill that would have banned intoxicating hemp. And I'm going to talk more about intoxicating hemp. I actually have beach thoughts at the end of the show on intoxicating hemp. But that he got a lot of backlash, and probably education, because again, any states that actually try to ban these things, almost everybody has gotten checked, because again, it's part of the federal legislation, and so if your hemp laws follow the federal legislation, then you can't ban anything that's made from industrial hemp. You can't do it. What we're seeing now is there is a new bill they've already written up, which will then raise the age limits for intoxicating hemp. And again, I have very, very interesting words about intoxicating hemp, that I'm ready for at the end of the show. So you're gonna have to wait. You have to bear through the whole show to get to Beach's thoughts on intoxicating hemp. So anyway, that being said, let's check out some intoxicating hemp on the product spotlight. The very first one here is our Delta 9 gummies, and what we now have is a 3-pack. And so, we've been doing 3-packs of other Delta 9 gummies, and so I thought, you know what? Why don't we just do our own 3-pack of Delta 9 gummies? 60 milligrams total, 20 milligrams per gummy, 3 different flavors: pineapple, grape, and lime. And of course, grape is my favorite, and I don't use grape in any of my passwords either. But grape has always been one of my favorite candy flavors, which you don't see a lot, and it's very hard to replicate unless it's natural. But I do like my grape one way or another. So the next one here is the Homestead bath bombs. I had a friend ask me about bath bombs the other day, so I thought, hey, yeah, we do have bath bombs. And again, this is the Sharonville location. I'm positive what's down in Northside as far as bath bombs go, but we have the Homestead alternatives. Again, I call them local. They're just down in Kentucky, not too far away, doing the great things that they do with hemp and CBD and whatnot. And so these are 100 milligrams per bath bomb, which is, that's a decent amount. And yes, it should absorb into your skin and go, and do what you want it to do. And because, it doesn't go into the bloodstream, it doesn't make itself into the bloodstream. So if you're, doing the bath bomb thing, you're probably talking about whole body absorption, from your head, or at least your neck, to your toes, depending on how far you're in the water. And so once again, that's going to be a whole body immersion, basically, in CBD. And we know from experience from our many, many customers that buy one of the topicals that we have, and we have multiple forms of topicals. Because it works in an isolated spot. So where you put it in, it works. It doesn't go into the bloodstream, so it all gets absorbed in the area that you put it on your skin, and basically, none of that's lost. Even if it did make it in the bloodstream, that would be okay, because then it just goes through your system, and then it hits your CB1, CB2 receptors in your endocannabinoid system and does what it's supposed to, does what the brain thinks it needs to do. But for targeted area or surface, CBD is great for that. So there's the bath bombs. And because it's still chilly out, how about some top hand gloves, hats, and scarves? I am also promising that I will have these up on eBay, actually. And again, that's ERB Son of Ma, M-A, on eBay. But I just noticed that I got a decent back stock of these. And so I'm going to go ahead and get them up there. It's not an eBay store. It's just stuff I sell on eBay. And I'm trying to put as much hemp stuff up there as I can, one way or another. So no matter where you are in the world, and I need to get the stuff on the website, which is another thing I need to start dedicating myself to, and will, um, because I haven't, and I need to, one way or another. And then the last one is some Earthly Body Lotion. That good old skin stuff. Again, winter, cold weather, even wet weather. Again, one way or another. And we're starting to get a little warmer here already. We had 2 weeks of really cold winter, and then we went to spring, and I swear we're almost still in spring. Still getting cold at night, but I think it's supposed to get up to 60 today and tomorrow, and so it's like we're in February. What's going on? Good old Cincinnati weather, The joke is, if you don't like the weather, just wait for tomorrow. And a lot of people don't like that, and I love it. I love the fact that our weather changes so sporadically, and that we get everything, even though we didn't really get much of a winter. It was colder earlier, and who knows, next week we could get another freeze spell. It would not surprise me whatsoever if in a week or two, all of a sudden it's like 0. So anyway, that being said, if the skin is getting dried out or whatnot, get yourself some hemp seed, Earthly Body hemp seed lotion, because it's great for the skin. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. It's great for the skin. All right, the one from my door is like super old. I just found this in my office because I haven't really had a real use for it recently. But this is my day planner that I carried around for years and years and years and years and years. Again, Artesian made this, and they have great stuff. I've got bags still from them. My DOP kit, if you know what a DOP kit is, basically that's your bathroom stuff all together. I've got one of theirs that still hangs. I need to find that actually. But anyway, and so good stuff there from a classic. And as you can see, at one point or another, I definitely use this a lot. Those are probably coffee stains, I'm guessing, on the front there, if I was to guess, from back in the day. And then I actually printed out that hemp and ironed it on, and then the patch I just added at some point or another, I ironed that on as well. But good stuff indeed. From my door. So there you have it on the product spotlight here on the High Noon Hemp Show. 4 from the store, 1 from my door. And don't forget about eBay. ERB, Son of Ma. SONOFMA.
That's right.
And for reference, and I mentioned it before, Ma is also the Chinese word. I am literally the son of my ma, but Ma is the Chinese word for hemp, just so you know. Da-da-da.
There you go. And if you follow us on one of the Facebook pages or on X, I'm starting to post individual eBay stuff that's like hemp related on there as well. So be on the lookout for that. Pick you up some your very own hemp from Beach, and you can tell people this is made of hemp. I got it from Beach. I mean, what else do you need? Which of course is a great segue to our next segment. And at this point, I figure we're just building an overwhelming case for whenever the Guinness Book of World Records does finally get around to noticing us. The evidence is going to be so overwhelming that they're going to be like, you know what? You're right. Our bad. Here's your page in the next book. I don't even know if they do books anymore. It's probably a website now.
Yeah,
something,
right.
some kind of recognition, some kind of plaque or diploma looking thing, something to recognize what we got going on here one day. Like I said, until then, that's right. Something, just anything. Beach can put up on the wall right there behind him, and we can look at it while we do the show and be proud of our accomplishment and what we've done. Mostly what Beach has done, but I'll take some credit for it. Why not? I'm here. So that, of course, brings us to the continuing building of the case, the beachwear segment. All I have to do is one thing, and that is ask Beach, what are you wearing, Beach?
That's right. If you're curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you'll know here on the High Noon Hemp Show. Black and gray. Black and gray. You know, I don't know if I would wear this a whole lot, honestly, which is weird. I don't have a whole lot of gray in the in the attire, although I have a little bit, but not a whole lot. But on top there, that is a no bad idea camo hat. And then my jacket is my rocket jacket, and again, this rocket jacket is actually a motorcycle jacket. They come fully padded. I've taken the pads out of this one, and I have another one that I will wear probably sometime soon in the spring to show, which I still have the pads. I think I have most of the pads still in. So anyway, it's a heavy canvas. It's meant to take a spill, and I do believe that as far as clothing goes, other than like wearing steel mesh or something, I think that this is probably the best thing to keep me safe if I ever go down on my bike, one way or another. The long sleeve black shirt that I have underneath my t-shirt is what I call a question mark, because it doesn't have tags in it anymore, and I honestly cannot remember. I've had it so long that I cannot remember who actually made it. And so that's one of my question mark product names there, brands, question mark brand, I'll call it. The t-shirt, the gray t-shirt on that though, is my Ono Hemptations University tee, printed right here at Planet Everywhere manufacturing, so to speak. And again, this is it's what they call sustainable hemp, which is interesting, but it's also organic cotton. So, a lot of my t-shirts, if not the majority of them, are about a 55-45 blend, 55 hemp, 45 cotton. When it's organic cotton, it is, to me, that's as environmentally friendly as 100% cotton. Unfortunately, if it's just cotton, then all the benefits of the 55% hemp are kind of thrown out with all the crap that cotton does to our planet and all the water that's used to make it. But that being said, it's something that has brought the cost down a lot and made it more easier for the average person to afford it, and also to kind of give the consistency more of a t-shirt. Not that and I cannot believe that we don't have 100% hemp material that's fiber based, that is as soft as a t-shirt. But we may, and again, it's just there's not a whole lot of them. I would look at Young Maven first, or Enviro Textiles even, who does Ono. Ono is made by Enviro Textiles. They're a great material fiber material company out there. Even check Hemp Traders. I don't know if they have the shirts pre-made, but they may have a soft 100% hemp mix. Again, there's a lot of material out there. Either way, my pants, never ever seen before on the High Noon Hemp Show. These are Pan World Traders. Pan World Traders is, once again, they probably haven't even operated for 20 years. Now, I think that Pan World Traders, if I have my timeline right, became Just Naturel, which I have been wearing some Just Naturel clothing a little bit more, gotten out there. And so it makes these pants pretty old. But again, found them in a box. I can't believe they were in a box, as well as another hemp pair of pants that I really look forward to. And I may have to wait till 420ish actually to wear these, because it's going to be hard not to wear them. But I feel like I need to show these for the first time, these other pair of pants that I found around the 420 to Earth Day episode. Anyway, that'll be, if I do the math right, then we're looking at 417 will be that episode.
Yep.
So You can see in my pocket there, I have a Hempies built on, which you can't really see because it is black and it looks right in there. But in my pocket as well, you can see my Green Springs Technology pen, as always. Underneath it all is a pair of classic head case boxers. And then my socks. Never seen before on the High Noon Hemp Show because they are brand new to me. These are dry release socks. That's the name of them, dry release socks. Now, if I remember correctly, they're only 44% hemp. So there's some argument there technically as to whether that's enough, but it's more than not. And they're very nice. They're very nice. And then on the feet there is a classic pair of shell toes, Adidas hemp shell toes. So there you have it, folks. Here on the High Noon Hemp Show. What are you wearing, Beach? Now you know. On this fine first Wednesday of February. All right. Well, we got some good news, and maybe I don't even know if I have any bad news this week, but we'll be checking that out right after this commercial break.
Your trusted hemp source for 20 years plus and 10 years of selling CBD. Try Hemptation's Kentucky-grown CBD tincture and Kentucky-grown hemp oil. Hemptations has the largest selection of hemp on the planet, and that includes CBD in many different forms. 4 locations in Cincinnati and Dayton, open 7 days a week. Get store locations at Hemptations.com and check out the High Noon Hemp Show on YouTube. Having Hemptations?
There you go.
A little shameless plug for the High Noon Hemp Show at the end of that one. And again, that commercial is at least that was probably right after we started this show, so 4 or 5 years ago, actually, which is probably about right because I mentioned 10 years, and we were probably selling CBD in 2008, 2009, 2010 for sure. Guarantee it. So, again, we should be the number one CBD retailer, and it's to say, just from our experience alone, we're the oldest. We deserve to win at least once, right?
That's right.
Anyway. If not, I'm okay with not even placing in that because I know how much our customers still love all our CBD products, so if we're not we're number one in our customers' eyes, and they count on our reliability. For offering great products one way or another. All right, let's get on with the news. Check out this chair. This is the furniture brand Norman Copenhagen, and again, this is over in Europe, I believe somewhere. But this is a hemp mat chair, and what's interesting is it's actually kind of molded, and so they showed a picture of these flat hemp panels made from the fiber, kind of plasticky fiber. I don't know how they're doing it. Honestly, it's kind of, and then they're molding them, and then maybe they're coating them with something. I'm not positive, but pretty neat stuff. As far as not having to buy a plastic chair, because normally this type of chair would be made out of plastic, and to make it out of hemp is great. And then, have it sitting in the hemp field is even better. I want to sit in a hemp chair in a hemp field someday. Someday I will do that. We'll see what happens. One way. Article entitled 5 of the Healthiest Nuts and Seeds. Of course, guess who came in first? The good old hemp seed. Numero uno on the list because it is the number one healthiest seed out there. Okay. And it probably, as far as that goes, you throw nuts in there as well. It is probably the healthiest nut or seed. It is a seed itself, not a nut. But that was what the list was titled. But the number one was hemp seeds because it is. And I have more on hemp seed in the show as well. I'm going to put up the list of all the reasons why hemp hemp seed is so good. Um, Panda Biotech, and they're an up and coming name in the hemp world for sure. They got approval for a hemp gin, a loan. They got approval for a loan to purchase a hemp gin for a plant that they are building or working on in Wichita Falls. Now, I believe they're actually out of Texas originally, but they hope to have this plant up and running within a year or so. I think it's interesting that they called it a hemp gin. Because that was when hemp and cotton were battling it out. It was the hemp gin, and it was the hemp decortator, which didn't come along until later. And that's kind of one reason why cotton kind of won. Not that it helped that they made hemp illegal, but the cotton gin made processing cotton exponentially easier, where the hemp decortator also made processing hemp exponentially easier. As a piece of machinery that takes the hemp back and forth, which is the machinery there now. The fact that they're calling this a gin, maybe because they just, decortator is such a hard word. When you look at it and you try to read it, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right now, to be honest with you. But that's the way I've always pronounced it. I'll have to find my picture of the big tractor company in their catalog from 19 so way back in the day. Had one, again, you take out into the fields, pull it behind your tractor, take it out into the fields, and run your hemp through it to break the stalks, which is one of the hardest things to do in all nature when they are fresh out of the ground. It is just super strong, holding itself together, which is why they would ret them, leave it in the field, or actually leave it in water or a stream for a long period of time to break that outer stalk, which is what we make the hempcrete out of, the animal bedding, all that good stuff. Held together by lignin, which is also a byproduct of industrial hemp that we haven't seen a whole lot of byproducts, or part of the biomass, I say, but we haven't seen a whole lot of byproducts actually being using the lignin that is left over after you break the stalk and you remove the fiber, more or less, or it's a process of breaking the stalk, more or less. So, but good for Panda Biotech. This is more fiber related, which means they have all the intentions of being able to process hemp stalks for fiber, and also that what we call hurd or shiv. Actually, there's
Whoop.
Did I
We
disappear?
lost beach for a second. There we go. We're back.
Yep, we're back.
Yep.
And so I don't know how hurd became the word for that part of the outside stalk that's broken up, because there is, you can try to look it up in the dictionary. I don't even think it's in the dictionary. Again, a lot of the industry, you'll see it called shiv. And so either way, good job, Panda Biotech. Where'd you go? I'll take a look at this fountain in Russia. I want to thank Chris Bennett for reposting this. And I have seen the picture of this before. This is a huge fountain in a town in Russia somewhere, which clearly celebrates hemp. It's not a fountain that was ever built to memorialize marijuana, as they call it. But this is, pure hemp. I think I shot the close-up picture because, like, in between there, you'll see those are huge hemp leaves.
Can't get any bigger.
Wow, what happened? It is a tiny little picture.
Yeah.
But again, huge hemp leaves running up and down the sides of this fountain, which again was obviously built because hemp was probably super important to the farmers in this area and may still be. It's hard to say. I don't know. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. Amerigenvre in Pennsylvania. This is super big news, I suppose. Was awarded a $1.9 million grant from the government, the military, I believe, actually, somehow, some way, to study hemp-based insulation. And of course, when they use the hempcrete in the walls, they call it insulation because it can't be for load bearing. So you have to build the wall frame for the load bearing part of it, and then you fill it in with hemp, insulation. But hempcrete is a great insulator. The other benefits of that are it's antimicrobial, antibacterial. It's lighter than hempcrete, and so, but still serves its purpose more efficiently, or just as efficiently. And then, of course, it's so the hemp sequesters the carbon when it's being grown better than trees, and then it actually still collects and holds in carbon. So it's unbelievable when it comes to the human and earth friendliness of hempcrete, and then the efficiency of it. It's not just something you want to do for the humans in the planet, but it's something you want to do because your house will be more efficient. It will stay cooler in the summer. It will stay warmer in the winter. And without having to use other means or as much means, which again, highly efficient. So just yet another reason. What I do find funny about this is if this is the military, and then the military is going to start building hemp buildings or using hempcrete in whatever they want to use it in, is that even going to be okay with them? Because soldiers can't use hemp in any form. I mean, in all honesty, I'm still under the impression that if you are in the United States military, any branch, you cannot use hemp for anything. You can't use it for shampoo. Can't use it for clothing. You can't use the CBD, blah, blah, blah. And so I believe they have a zero hemp policy. And now they're giving somebody a bunch of money to actually study whether they should use it or not, I suppose, in their buildings or whatever. I don't know. And so I find that the irony at its finest, but of course, that's the government. Speaking of building with hempcrete, check out this super, super cool looking house. This was built out west. I want to say Arizona. It definitely looks, very, very Arizona-ish.
Yeah.
But just a really neat design and use of hempcrete, one way or another. And it seems like almost every week now there's some cooler and neater. And again, that's I don't want to take away from those regular projects, but where hempcrete's being used one way or another. But I think when you see things like this and all the how neat it is to work with, it just encourages more people to try to want to use it. And again, anywhere that hempcrete is not for load bearing, because you can't use hempcrete for load bearing right now in construction, but anywhere else that you would have used concrete should be hempcrete at this point. And again, there's multiple reasons for that. We're running out of sand on the planet. They've drilled and mined and scraped all the sand that's capable of using, that you can use in hempcrete. You can't use desert sand, or in concrete, you can't use desert sand. Or obviously we'd probably have so much, whatever. But anyway, we can replace that sand with hemp and grow it in 4 or 5 months, and then grow it again in 4 or 5 months, and not have to dig up. As much as we shouldn't drill for oil anymore, and we can use hemp oil to help with that, we shouldn't be drilling and mining for sand for most of the crete work done in the world these days. So, and again, huge popularity. I see hempcrete dominating that market faster than I see hemp fiber dominating the clothing market, or even hemp foods dominating the food market, which they should do. Any food that you can use hemp in should be made. Any clothing that you can use hemp in should be made. Any crete that you can use hemp in should be made, and is. It's very popular. Very popular. Juice Tiva. And hopefully we'll be getting some samples of this, or an order of this in soon. Okay. Now this Juice Tiva is an organic hemp juice, and they're using the leaf containing CBDA, big stuff, and CBGA. And they're coming out with options, cacao leaf, coca cacao. I don't know how it's, anyway. Lovely hemp lemon, which sounds great, and then sweet leaf. And basically, it's a ready-to-mix option. And they've made the options endless, because you can put it in smoothies, juice. You can make your own, just juice out of it, shakes, coffee, tea, or just plain old water. And so, can pretty much be added to any liquid, and you get the benefits of those items. And you may or may not know, depending on how much you watch the show, to me, the leaf is the most underutilized part of the entire plant. We don't see hemp leaf salads, and we should. We don't see, a whole lot of byproducts being made from the leaf itself. And so I think, that makes this product, super genius. And because, it utilizes the most unutilized part, if not the roots. And again, the roots are good for stuff too. There's no doubt about it. Body products and whatnot, we're seeing more, if anything, the roots being used in. But between the roots and the leaves, those are the two most underutilized parts of the plant. And again, you can use everything from the roots to the top of the flowers. Every part of that plant can be used for something, and should be. There should be zero waste. Everybody that grows cannabis in the world should get on the zero waste ideology of it. And again, I don't care what you're growing cannabis for. The stalk of a marijuana plant, okay, it still can be used and made into the herd, animal bedding, or whatever. The fiber inside that stalk can be used. The roots can be used. The leaves can be used. The leaves are a little sketchy when it comes to actual marijuana, because the surface of those may actually have THC on them, but that doesn't mean to make it THC-based cannabis, whatever. But again, no matter what you're growing hemp for, the entire plant can be utilized by somebody to make something that can benefit humanity. And then again, if it's no waste, then it benefits the planet as well. Zero waste should be the ideology between everything. Unfortunately, we're fighting, 100 years of waste being 100% acceptable. Building mountains and mountains and mountains of landfill of junk, because, we made it completely acceptable in the eyes of the common, or the average person, to just throw it away, take it to landfill, whatever it is, and that's, it should not be the way the world things. And that's where hemp comes in as well. Um, all right. How about the first plant-based fur? Check out this purse. Um, this is Danish fashion brand Gani, and they're claiming, and this could be true. I might believe this, that they have actually developed the world's first plant-based fur, and it's made by BioFluff. And again, I do believe this is over in Europe as well. I think that most of the fake fur that you see now is actually made from petrochemicals. So it's synthetic fibers made by petrochemicals. And of course, you see a lot of recycled or upcycled or recycled plastics being made into fake fur or fiber, which is great, I suppose, for what we have. But we need to stop making synthetic fibers. They are microplastics, which is basically what comes from this. Work their way into the water system. When you wash your whole load of polyester, rayon, whatever it is, petrochemically based clothing, tiny micro nanoparticles of plastic work their way into the water system. And we have found those nanoplastics from the top of the highest mountains to the bottom of the lowest seas. Excuse me, at this point. And so, that's another goal. Just going back to, man, what's going on with me? Let me get a little...
Well, too excited about hemp. The throat's giving out. The voice giving out.
That's it, man. I got a little, get passionate, and all of a sudden my voice is going to go. So, another reason why we just need to quit making clothing materials unless 100% absolutely necessary. It doesn't breathe as well. It's not good. It's I think it's just cheap and easy at this point. And again, when you make something like that synthetically, then you have synthetic waste. You have bad waste that has to go somewhere. There is no bad waste when you make hemp clothing. When you make a hemp purse, fake fur, and it can't, the possibilities are endless, I suppose, when it comes to 100% plant-based fur. So look to see more on that coming in the future. See what they do, where that goes. I mentioned Manitoba Harvest a couple weeks ago and how great of a sustainable, earth-friendly company they are. They're releasing an organic bioactive fiber product. I often mention that all the nutrients and everything you get out of the seed, and now it's usually the hulled seed, which is the inside, the shell is taken off. Well, that shell is where you get fiber. So they probably have, and this is where this probably came out, is the fact that because they do more with hulled seed when it comes to their products, they end up with a bunch of shell, the hemp seed shell, which again is super high in fiber, and then came out with this product. And again, this is a bioactive fiber. And so, again, made for the gut and the digestive system, obviously, when it comes to that. And each serving has 6 grams of soluble and insoluble fiber. And again, they're claiming that this is the only fiber solution containing both powerful hemp-based bioactives for gut health. And so, again, it gives... They're just continuing, which is great. They're not resting on their laurels when it comes to most of the hemp products that they already have, between protein powders, which they I'm pretty sure were one of the first, if not the first, to develop a protein powder, a hemp-based protein powder that wasn't grainy, which is also very difficult. But probably one of the ways that they did that is they separate the shell from the hull, and then somehow just dried that hull and then made that into a powder, as opposed to the whole seed, which you would have to refine quite a bit, I believe, to get it to be not grainy. But that being said, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's just something you have to get used to. You know, when it comes to health, and we were discussing this last night because someone was like, hemp oil tastes so bad pure, and I'm like, yeah, but it's medicine. I'm not claiming it's medicine. It's therapeutic. Just like most medicines, a lot of medicines don't taste good. It's not the taste that you're trying to get the benefits of. It's the benefits of the product itself. And so, you know, sometimes there's a little bit of a give or take when it comes to choosing the better food product or product. And you know, once you get used to it, just like the hemp oil, like our CBD comes in hemp oil, and it's something that a lot of people have to get used to the taste. But once you do, then it's, you know, again, it's not like horrendously bad. It's just not great. It's not, you know, the best tasting stuff, one way or another. But it's the end result you're looking for. It's not, you know, and so sometimes you have to accept the little bad to get to the really good. That's what it is. So apparently here's a little picture of, there's over 100 supposed pests that have been found in Florida's hemp crops, which probably isn't going to be an issue soon, because what Florida is doing to the hemp industry is super destructive. And if they even have any hemp farmers left in a year or two to care about the pests. And again, the only pests, these were just found. It's not like they're saying they destroyed anything. These are just, and of course, it's nature. I mean, I don't, you know, I really kind of think it's interesting. It's only the flower, when growing for the flower, the CBD or CBG or THCA or whatever it may be, when you're growing for the flower, that you have to worry about pests to begin with. There are no pests yet to be reported anywhere in the world that have had an impact on fiber plants or grain plants even. Okay. None of them affect the end result. Only when you're growing for fiber is it, or flower, I should say, is it an issue to begin with. What I think is funny, I guess, once again, the blue section over there, which is like 50%, if you take out one letter, it then becomes like hemp something, because it's hemipterus or something. But if you just take out the I, that species of insects, it has hemp in it, which fun games we play with words one way or another. And I'm not sure how, how are butterflies a bad thing? I mean, shouldn't we, again, I feel like butterflies are pollinators. And again, you don't want pollinators in your flower, but you want pollinators in your grain. If you're growing for grain, you want all the pollinators you can get. That germplasm carries from the male to the female through the wind. But I truly believe that, animals could do that as well. And so, you need that for high flower production. I'm guessing that, and I don't know the process, and, I feel like I should. I'm guessing when they grow for grain in Canada, that at a certain point in the field, they then dust it with the male germplasm that then makes the females produce the seed. And so I would only guess that's the way that happens. And fiber, it doesn't matter. I think I don't even know. You may even want, I don't know. hyperbolating here that you may want the actual male plants for the fiber. But I don't think I don't know that that's true. We'll have to actually go look at the cultivars, and again, it's usually by cultivar that you would say, all right, I'm going to grow this cultivar for fiber. I'm going to grow this cultivar for grain. And then, of course, out of those cultivars, they found out which ones were higher in CBD, and then bred, if there was any more THC out of it, and boosted those CBD numbers to get the flower industry going from the cannabis plant one way or another. And that's how that works. So from 100 grams of hemp seed. So if you have 100 grams of hemp seed, here is the list, basically, of why you want to add hemp seed into your diet. Again, it has an unbelievable. The protein alone is amazing. You have all these other nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. And it's funny that at the bottom, they mention the essential fatty acids, which is a huge part of the reasoning, because my understanding of the hemp seed or the hemp oil is that it has like the perfect ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 essential fatty acids that you want. I've been seeing a lot more on the importance of magnesium in your diet. And again, all of these things on this list are a reason why everyone, or foods that can have it, should have hemp seed in their products, one way or another. Again, it's an unbelievably great nutritional plant. And, you want to feed the world, we need to grow more hemp for grain, one way or another. No doubt about that. So, all right, that's all the news that I've got. There's still some events going, a little bit of events going on. The Alabama Department of Agriculture are doing their 4 industrial hemp meetings this month. I believe one of them may be tonight. Ironically, they may be on Wednesdays. I don't remember for sure. But if you're in Alabama and you want to check those out, just go to the Department of Agriculture. There should be something on their website as far as a link to the meetings, or where they are, or how that works. I would hope that you could at least even watch them, possibly. I don't know what that participation really means either way, but if you're in Alabama and you want to know what's going on with them and hemp, I would definitely look into that. The Atlanta, February 24th, the Atlanta Hemp World Festival from 12 to 8 p.m. is going on at the Westside Cultural Arts Center. So if you're in or around the Atlanta area and you want to check out all things hemp, then I would definitely, from the description of it, it looked like, again, it really was going to be all things hemp, from farming to products available. And so that could be kind of interesting down there. And then, of course, also February 24th and 25th, if you want to go to Mumbai, India, that is the India Hemp Expo going on over there. If you want to see what's going on with them, and I think that they are really dedicating themselves as a country to back hemp, not just for fiber, which they should do, because there's a lot of cotton, one way or another. And then the food products we're seeing more and more support from just the general India public, I suppose, on hemp and food. Again, if you're trying to feed over 1 billion people, hemp should be grown everywhere you can for food products. And again, we're talking about a good decent proportion of those billion people are vegetarians, vegans, probably vegetarians. I don't think, they don't, maybe not go as far. They probably go as far as vegan. And so, again, to have a healthy India, it only makes sense that they should be growing industrial hemp and feeding it and figuring out how to put it in, in their diverse range of foods and whatnot. Get some hemp naan. Sounds like a great idea. Even just sprinkling hemp seed on most Indian dishes, it wouldn't hurt the taste or even change the taste of it, but it would add a great nutritional value to it, which again, with most of them being vegetarians, it's only makes sense that it should be a huge part of their diet. All in all, I just can't believe, because it came down out of the Tibetan Plateau, which is right there at the top of India. 2.8 million years ago or 28 million years ago. I forget that timeline. I think it was 2.8. However many millions of years ago, that's where cannabis comes from originally. They've traced it back to there. And again, I think that's why the Chinese and the Indians of India have thousands of years. It used to be one of the top 5 food products in India on the list. And so, it's crazy that they've kind of diverted from it when they still have so many mouths to feed one way or another. All right. Well, that's the events that I have. As I said, I have some thoughts on this new intoxicating hemp. One of my thoughts is I suppose we can, I don't know, in all the research that I've been doing on this show, I cannot remember actually ever seeing the term intoxicating hemp until our illustrious governor here in Ohio used it. Now, ironically, just in the last week or so, I saw a country over in Europe, and now I cannot remember what it was, but they were describing it as intoxicating hemp. And again, intoxicating hemp is 100% legal. Anything that you can make from hemp is legal. Okay, and so that includes Delta-9, which again, once it's isolated, it's the exact same Delta-9 that you would find in your edibles or your carts at the dispensary or the personal use store, wherever that is. Okay. And I'm not necessarily, we don't sell to kids. I mean, we would never sell to kids. Okay. But, and I get that they want to put age restrictions on these, because that does make sense, because, if you don't have to card someone for it, then, you probably don't want to be, you don't want that to exist, I suppose, in one sense, because again, that Delta-9 is the real deal. THCA is the real deal. Again, I was talking about it last night and predicting that as far as intoxicating hemp goes, THCA is going to make a whole new market. And of course, we're selling THCA flower in pre-rolls, and probably we'll be just selling THCA flower on its own real soon. And it rivals the effects of Delta-9 THC one way or another. And so, I'm okay with, I'm not against, I should say, the age restrictions. Excuse me. When it comes to age restrictions, I am against one thing. I want the government to figure out whether you're an adult at 21 or you're an adult at 18. Because to me, it seems so contradictory that they tell us we're adults at 18, but then they limit the things we can do until we're 21 when it comes to adult behavior or adult intoxication, drinking. In Ohio it's 21 and over for tobacco now, um, and I'm okay with that. I suppose in a sense that if they change the age of majority to 21, then it makes sense. But why is it, once again, that the government says you're an adult at 18? You're responsible for your own actions at the age of 18, but then says 21 is the age where we think you're mature enough to decide whether you want to drink or smoke or whatever. I've never understood that. And again, it goes back to the old argument. If you're old enough to go to war for your country, how are you not old enough to have a beer? It's ideologically ridiculous in one sense that you can die, you can go and serve your country and die for your country, but you're not responsible enough to have a beer. It's just, to me, that's probably the most bizarre thing about it. If the government's really looking out for our well-being, then if we can't make adult decisions until we're 21, then don't call us adults until we're 21. And then you can't serve in the military until you're 21, which is what they don't want, all in all. But again, it just seems so ignorant, really, that they call us adults at 18, but then they say we can only have adult-like behavior if we're 21. And again, if it's a maturity thing, once again, the argument was made last night that that 2 or 3 years in maturity is pretty big. And again, and if that's true, then we shouldn't be adults until we're 21 then, by law. And we're a minor until we are. But that's never going to happen. The government is never going to do that anywhere. And so it just is quite hypocritical, honestly. And so, this is going to be the year of intoxicating hemp discussions. We're seeing so many more states doing this and that. It's funny, like one of the states was like, one of the politicians was like, they were trying to change or make something illegal, industrial hemp byproduct illegal, and then they were like, I don't even know why we're trying to do this. It's just so silly. When these and adult decisions are one thing, one way or another. And what I find interesting is what defines intoxicating hemp. Like, if enough people say CBD got them high, would that then become intoxicating hemp all of a sudden? I mean, how did they even know? Whose word are they taking on this? So, is it just because there's a rumor out there that Delta 8 does something to you, that now it's got to be intoxicating hemp? And again, because you feel something. And so it shouldn't make it any less over the counter, just like a lot of things you can walk into Walgreens and buy that can give you a buzz. And I don't know what the age restrictions are on some of those substances. I do suppose that they may card you for some of those over-the-counter substances that they know people use to get intoxicated from, or can get intoxicated from. And so, it's an interesting, like I said, this is going to be the real year. And everybody's doing, last year was like the year of Delta 8. And I still think that this is still the Delta 8, because a lot of them are all stuck on Delta 8 still. And I was talking about this last night. We're beyond Delta 8. We are way past Delta 8. Delta 8 is still popular because because it does for people what they want it to do therapeutically, um, and though that intoxication is in the right doses is not that bad. It's much calmer. It's much better than the intoxication related to Delta 9. Okay. Um, but it's so funny because you don't hear a lot, and we just mentioned one of the states where you can't put it in there, but you still don't hear a lot about Delta 9 even, and they're probably a year behind when it comes to what they know or think about THCA, which again is the next big huge thing in the industrial hemp byproducts, CBD byproducts. And again, this is not something that they have to make synthetically, like Delta 8. And synthetic's not a bad thing. They're taking one piece of nature, CBD, and changing it into Delta 8 just through science and chemistry. Synthetic has a negative connotation to it, but it's not always a bad thing. Okay, it's just the definition of synthetic is taking one thing and making something else out of it, making something different out of it, for the most part. But THCA is naturally occurring, and we can boost that, once again, because the breeding of cannabis is exponentially insane. How they can do it. We can breed cannabis that has high THCA and that low THC Delta 9. And it was interesting last night because again in the discussion is someone was like, but it's not legal. It can't. It's the same thing, and I'm like, it's not. Okay. The law clearly says the one thing we can only have 0.3% of per dry weight is Delta 9 THC. If it's not called Delta 9, if it doesn't test as Delta 9 THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, then it's legal. It's 100% legal as a byproduct, which is clearly written in the federal law. Clearly written. Extracts, derivatives, everything is all there. And so it's going to be an interesting year. Definitely. Intoxicating hemp is going to be the buzzword. And I, unfortunately, I do feel like, and again, I may be wrong here. You might have gotten it from somewhere else. I haven't seen any other state that's tried to ban any of this stuff, actually, and maybe I missed it. I call it intoxicating hemp, but that's sure the buzzword in Ohio when it comes to this. And again, how is this? I haven't seen the bill that they're throwing out to the House now that's going to add the age restrictions. Like, how is it described? Does it just say intoxicating hemp? Because that's as vague can be. That again, that's just a ridiculous way. They're going to have to define intoxicating hemp. They're going to have to come up with a definition if they call that. Now, is the bill just going to be like D8, which is the one everybody's making a big fuss about? And I think once again why they're calling it intoxicating hemp is because they want a broad range. They want to be able to say whatever we call intoxicating hemp is part of this law. Okay, but that's not. You can't say that. You can't do that, in my opinion, in the government, because that's just that allows for too much vague definition. So they're going to have to clearly define what intoxicating hemp means, or they're going to have to specifically say what these intoxicating hemp derivatives or whatnot are, one way or another. So it's going to be interesting. Again, they dropped the ban because they know that would just, in the long run, that would just delay them. And this is, what I mentioned last night as well, is the reason that they dropped the ban is because even if the ban went through, it'd get challenged and get overturned. And then we still wouldn't have age restrictions on those byproducts. Okay. I would not have stopped if they tried to ban them in the state of Ohio. I would not have stopped selling them. And if they were going to come for me, then I would take my day in court and prove in court that right to ban these substances. Whether they really have a right, and of course they do, because the state is the ones that raise the age of tobacco somehow. They obviously have the government power to do that, and again, which is the safe move. It's the safe move. I'm not here to argue it. As a responsible shop owner and someone who trains their employees to be responsible when it comes to these products, it's not an issue for us. They weren't going to catch us selling Delta 9 to a 15-year-old, okay? Unless their parent was there and their parent bought it, which is 100% legal. And so we were just like we were carding for vapes before that was the law. I've always trained my employees to be responsible about this. Clearly, to let people know what's going on, whether they look young or not, with the products that they're buying, but be responsible for it. We can't expect that. I know I can't expect that from every other gas station. If there's no law that says you don't have to be a certain age for these, well, then they're not going to take 2 seconds to care. Again, the gas station or whatever it was that sold to 15-year-old kids the Delta 8, they weren't charged with anything because it wasn't the law. They, once again, there are no age restrictions on these products until they make them, which is what they're doing now. And again, I think we're gonna see that. We are seeing that more and more in states. One way or another. And so it's kind of an interesting new game with the challenges of intoxicating hemp, which really, in my opinion, should put industrial hemp flower growing into a separate category than industrial hemp grain or fiber growing. We've talked about that before. There's a movement on the Hill to make the requirements in that a lot less, if any, if you're growing for fiber or grain. The THC it's not even an issue when you're growing for fiber or grain. It's only an issue when you're growing for flower, again, which is the CBD, the THCA, CBG, CBN, all that industrial hemp flower. It's only an issue in that product, and so it really should have its own classification. And then if you want to charge that stupid $1,000 licensing in the state of Ohio to grow the flower, that's fine. There shouldn't be any licensing fee to grow industrial hemp for grain or fiber. And until that's the case, we will not grow enough grain or fiber in this country to compete with China for fiber or Canada for grain. It's just never going to happen. Or what we're going to see is states like Kentucky, where it's a $35 application fee. And of course, you still have to be tested, I think, at the end of the year to make sure you come in under that 0.3%. You're going to see a lot more grain and fiber grown in those states that treat growing hemp as closely as you can to cotton or soy, one way or another. So there you have it. There's my beach thoughts on intoxicating hemp. Do with it what you will. Keep supporting industrial hemp for all its great purposes. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
See y'all next week.